95% of people are prompting ChatGPT wrong and they don't even know it. GPT-5 is a completely different model under the hood. It routes your requests, follows instructions literally, and won't guess what you mean anymore. So if your results feel worse lately, that's why. I've spent over a decade teaching people how to use AI. So when GPT-5 dropped and everyone started complaining, I dug in to figure out what changed. And here's how to fix it.
First, I'm going to show you what a bad prompt in GPT-5 looks like, but would have worked really well in GPT-4. So here's my prompt. The reason why this worked really well in GPT-4 is, as silly as it sounds, GPT-4 was more about vibes. A lot of people like GPT-4 because it reinforced their own feelings of superiority, or what is also known as psychophancy, where the model essentially flatters you, tells you how great all your ideas are. A lot of people really got attached to this. It was a big problem because people were living in their own confirmation bias and confirmation bias loop. We can see it does sense my vibe, but again, there's nothing really here about me. It just talks about here at the bottom how I've seen firsthand through women in data and HMCI, but nothing really direct examples of that. So now let me show you what a prompt optimized for GPT-5 would look like. And this is a long prompt, so I'm just gonna paste it in here. Again, I'm starting with having it act as my strategic writing and thinking partner, but watch how different these prompts are. Context about me, and I say, use this explicitly. I really wanted to get grounded in who I am, right? And I tell it, I'm Sadie, I'm the founder of Women in Data, the Human Machine Collaboration Institute. This is my work. This is what I speak about. This is what I'm interested in. I'm increasingly exploring things like consciousness, intuition, and what it means to be human and work with intelligent machines. Then I give it its task. Now I say, this is exactly what I want you to do. Write the LinkedIn post. The post should argue the next competitive advantage, but the ability for humans to work with it. Emphasize what I want it to focus on. And then I also give it the structure guidance. So I'm telling it very, very explicitly what I want it to do. So let's see what results we get with this one here. It's already so much better. Here's something I see in my work with cities, institutions, and executive teams. That's true. I do work with all those people. Almost everyone now has access to powerful AI tools. Very few people know how to actually work with them. The gap isn't technology, it's capability. Then I talk about how I spend time training these leaders. AI works best in augments. You can see already this one is much richer and deeper and has more what I would call like thought leadership in it. So it's not something that I would look at immediately and be like, that person wrote it with ChatGPT. The big thing here that I did not say, which is this is way too long. This is the great part about, again, working with AI. You can just say, please shorten this post in half. It did cut it down in about half. Let's make sure it kept the key points that I want about me, which is here. Again, I have who I work with, cities, how everyone's using it, competitive advantage, teams. We're not seeing a ton of M dashes. We're not seeing emojis. And here's the thing, not that anything's bad with like M dashes and emojis. If that's your style, stick to your style. But for me, that isn't. Everything just came across as like glaring, written by ChatGPT, which is not what we want. We want it to come across as your own original thoughts because it is, you're just working with ChatGPT. Now let's talk about how do we make our prompts better. So if we go back to my previous one, this is the one that I wrote for GPT-4. And let's look at it and kind of dissect each part of it. I can see automatically, one, it's not as long. Two, you see how I don't give it really specific commands like use this explicitly. I just tell it a little bit of context about me. And then I say like optimize for resonance, not accuracy. Versus number 5, where I say use this explicitly. Here is your task. Emphasize this argument. Make sure this is in the first person, clear, grounded, confident, thoughtful, but not hypey. And what's great about 5 is it can take it. It can take all these explicit instructions. I want to leave you with 3 important things when you're fixing your prompts from 4 to 5. Number 1, be as explicit as possible. Be okay with saying, do this, don't do this, always do this, and don't worry about how many different things that you say or don't say in it. Number 2, context is queen, as I always say, and the more context you have have is better. I see people who are using ChatGPT all the time and they're doing a terrible job. Why? Because they don't understand the real problem. So they're just generally giving ChatGPT a blanket statement. And I'm sorry, but unfortunately, you don't understand the real problem of what you're trying to solve. And again, you have to be in the driver's seat. You have to understand that subject matter, and you are the one who has to pull that context from you. Last but not least, think of it as like you are a manager and you're telling your employee what to do. I know that we're anthropomorphizing in this model, but it just helps with our mindset and how to get the best prompt. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you get the best prompt.
By the way, if you want more AI tips like this, I send out a free newsletter every week. Links in the description.
So I have 5 tips to make your prompting better within GPT-5. And the first one is starting with explicit context, not identifying any guessing. If you're telling it, think like me, what's better is to say, here's who I am, here's the work I do, and here's the themes I constantly write about. Think of this, unfortunately, like dealing with somebody with amnesia. They will keep portions of it unless you're in that same context window, or think of it like the same conversation. They may not have the full memory of who you are and what you do. Number 2, translate intuition into constraint. Instead of saying, make it poetic, but also grounded. I know we're art directors here, and so I want you to fill it out. No, we're not art directors. We're gonna be really explicit. Keep it grounded in real examples. No hype language. Written like a keynote, not a marketing hype angle. Number 3 is be clear about the job that you want it to do. One of the reasons that it's helpful to give it a task or a role or a job is because if you do this, how you prompt it's going to be different. Half of it is less about prompting for GPT-5 and more about what you're going to say after it. So if you're like, you are functioning as my program manager or as my product owner, and then you can say, oh, this is what I would want my product owner or my program manager to do. And so it will do those things. Number 3, define your audience and outcomes separately. Oh, if I could have $1 for every time people mess this up, I will be rich, but I don't. Okay, so what I want you to do is define your audience and outcomes separately. Why this matters is because I see so many times people don't share who their audience is for the output that they have, and they just share the outcome that they want. And this matters a ton, particularly when we're thinking about an executive audience versus managers versus individual contributors. We may want the same outcome for every one of those. The same outcome is they say yes to my project and they agree with it. Unfortunately though, how we communicate that to those different audiences is going to be differently. For example, executives are going to want to know, what is the impact of this on our business? How much is it going to cost? Is it going to make me look good? Does it align with my vision, strategic goals, values, mission, etc. Mid-managers like, do we have the resources? How much time is it going to take? Are there constraints, etc., etc. Individual contributors are like, what's my role in this? Tell me what I need to do. Okay. Same outcome. We want them to say yes to our project. Different lens. If you're using ChatGPT for these types of things, then you need to make sure that you're telling it, these are the audience, here's the outcomes. And last but definitely not least, sometimes what you avoid is more important than what you say yes to. Usually what I tell it to avoid the most is like, stop being so hype driven. Not having like a full script of what you run through and telling it what to avoid can be really, really helpful.
So here's the bottom line. GPT-5 is more powerful, but it needs you to be more specific about what you want. Once you adjust how you prompt, you'll get way better results than you ever got from older models. Grab the newsletter in the description if you want weekly tips like this. And if you want to know which AI skills actually matter right now, watch my video on the 5 AI skills that will make you irreplaceable. I break down the ones actually worth learning. So stay curious and I'll see you in the next one.